Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Liverpool. And the Liverpool FC train is steaming along. Another fantastic win for us at home against Sheffield United, a team that we actually didn't do so well against when we played away at Sheffield earlier this season. It was a game where Gini Wijnaldum scored the goal, but it was all down to the mistake of Dean Henderson in goal for Sheffield United, and we really struggled in that game. Sheffield United have proven that they're a very, very solid team. And that they can play well, particularly away from home. And they've actually picked up more points away from home than they have at home. Kind of just suits their play a little more. So it was always going to be a tough game for us. But I've been waiting to see a performance from us this season. I think other than kind of mainly the City game, where we kind of showed we were the dominant team in the league. There have been a couple of games that have kind of been up there. I think the City game is one and the Leicester game is another. However, for me, this was the game where we showed why currently we are the best team in the country and why we are dominating the league so well. I think in terms of composure on the ball, in terms of finishing, this game for me was just a gear above. And the reason I say that was not because we scored loads of goals or anything like that. It's just that we made everything that is actually really, really difficult against a very good team look so easy. Although, even in the analysis, Michael Owen said we didn't really come out of second and third gear, but we didn't need to because we were so fluid and so great in second and third gear. And pretty much everything was perfect from us in the game, from the early goal to the clean sheet. It was just everything that you expect from a team that is, a big contender to win the title, and a team that is so dominant in the league. And our dominance was shown by a stat that actually was probably one you wouldn't expect from a Liverpool team, particularly in an era where Pep Guardiola is in that league as well. And that is we completed the most passes in a game in Premier League history, which, watching the game, you kind of got, there was a lot of passing, but you thought there must be other games that had more passes than that, particularly from a Pep Guardiola team against some of the lesser teams. But no, it was us. And an even more interesting stat, which I came across today, was that between Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk, they had more passes between those two players alone than the whole of the Sheffield United team. And I think that was just down to our control of the game. Yes, I think Sheffield United, once they conceded early, kind of went into their shell a bit and didn't really, as Chris Wilder said, didn't really lay a glove on us throughout the rest of the game. However, the way we kind of passed the ball around, the way we moved the ball so effortlessly, it was so good to see. And as I said before, I think that kind of just really showed and demonstrated our dominance, both of this game in particular, but also of the league so far. Like, no team has been able to lay a finger on us, really. Obviously, Leicester and Aston Villa got very close, and obviously Man U were able to take some points off us. But on the whole, this for me was our most dominant performance of the season, and I think it really helped when we got the early opening goal. I think we always look a lot more confident when we get a good early goal at home. I think that just gives the fullbacks bomb on, gives the midfield a bit more space, and it just allows us to play the way we want to play. And the scoring was opened kind of in the first 10 minutes when a great long ball. We talked about this in the last episode about long passes, not long balls, and this was very much a long pass from Virgil van Dijk into Andrew Robertson, and unfortunately Baldock kind of slipped as he was kind of on the half turn, which was a shame for him. Obviously Dean Henderson made a big mistake in our game against Sheffield United earlier in the season. It was Baldock this time. But it was a real shame for him, because I've actually watched a couple of Sheffield United games and he's been really, really impressive. If you've been following the Premier League, you would have seen that he made an absolutely fantastic backheel assist a couple of weeks ago, and he's been looking really solid for them. So that was really unfortunate, but then unfortunate for Sheffield United. But once Robertson got the ball there, he kind of took his time, had the composure to just square the ball beautifully into Mo Salah, who was able to just roll the ball under Dean Henderson, and that was honestly the best possible start we could have hoped for after the tough game against Wolves, where we struggled to break them down. We weren't necessarily hitting top form. That was the perfect start that we could have that we could have asked for. And as their first half continued to go on, we looked more and more likely to make it 2-0. Sheffield United had maybe 1 or 2 shots. I think McGoldrick had a shot which looped over the bar. But other than that, it was more likely for us getting 2-0 than it was for Sheffield United equalising. And it was actually just down to Dean Henderson's really, really good saves that kept us at 1-0 at half-time. But the second half was, for me, what impressed me the most. A couple of seasons ago, even going into the Brendan Rodgers era and the beginning of the Jurgen Klopp era, we were quite erratic. Even when we were leading games where against teams that we should be beating, we just looked a bit kind of nervous, and we were giving up possession. And when you were watching as a fan, you never really just felt comfortable watching the team. You always thought something was just around the corner, whether it be a set piece goal that we concede, which now is just not a thing for Liverpool. Like, I remember a couple of seasons ago, set-piece defending was such a big topic for us. But Virgil van Dijk obviously had a big impact on that, but we're not talking about that now. And watching that game, I just did not feel nervous one moment. We were controlling the game. We were passing it well. We weren't just passing for passing's sake. We were actually kind of creating space with the passing. And the good thing about that is, particularly when we score an early goal, is that when we're passing the ball around the back, like, the other team get impatient and they start to press us, even if their game isn't to press us high up the pitch. Now, obviously, that puts a bit of pressure on the likes of Henderson, Van Dijk and Gomez. But what that does do, on the other hand, is open up space in behind for like Salah, Mane and even Firmino. And we saw that the second goal was a great example of that. Sheffield United pressing a bit, and we were able to just get in behind. And Salah and Mane, this time it was... able to get the ball. It was a kind of a lucky, it was a good save by Dean Henderson actually, and luckily for Mane, he was able to get back up with his feet, and the ball kind of just span on the spot almost, and made it very easy for him to slot the ball into the top corner. But I think that for me is a sign when we play really well, when we're passing like that and we invite the team on, and then that just leaves loads of space in behind for Salah and Mane to run and kill off games, which we've done actually many times this season, and Sheffield United yesterday in particular. But the dominance for me was epitomised by our captain, Jordan Henderson. What a performance from him this season. Any role he's been given, he's performed it like admirably to the best of his ability, and he's shown and taken on that mantle from Steven Gerrard, and this is the season where we've really seen what Jordan Henderson is all about. When he first came, he wasn't necessarily always the fans' favourite. People always had doubts about him, but this season for me, he is proving why he is one of our best players and important to the team as much as Van Dijk, Alisson and the front three are, and also showing for me why he's England's best midfielder. He's better than Winks, than Eric Dyer, than Dele Alli, than Ross Barkley, than Mason Mount. For me, he's better than all of them. And the reason he's better than all of them is because this season he showed how he can play the more attacking midfielder role like he was earlier in the season when he was playing on that inside right channel. But since Fabinho's injury, he's actually been even more impressive in the kind of number 6 defensive midfield position, which we actually moved him out of because he wasn't doing so well. But this season, he's got that mentality, he's got that desire, and he has just shown why he's captain of Liverpool and why he's so important to the team. Before there was always talks about, maybe Henderson might drop out of the team. Obviously, the injuries right now have a part to play in that, but right now, no one is moving Henderson out of the midfield. He is the shoe-in starter in midfield every game. And obviously, he runs like a maniac as well, and so he'd always get back into position. And I just kind of have no more positives to really say about Jordan Henderson. Like, his performance against Sheffield United was so impressive, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better like all-round midfielder in the Premier League at the moment, one that can create chances. Obviously I think Kevin De Bruyne for me is the best at that, but Henderson has the defensive abilities way better than the likes of De Bruyne, and I genuinely think he's probably the most complete midfield player in the Premier League right now. But yeah, so I'm sure some people will disagree with that, and some people will be like, it's the Liverpool bias or whatever. But in the form he's in at the moment, I genuinely think no midfielder in the Premier League can touch Jordan Henderson. And yeah, to round out this episode, the shout out to Klopp as we always do. is going to be around the defence. Now, earlier in the season, there was a kind of the questions of we were winning, but we were conceding, and maybe that was partly down to the Alisson injury. Maybe it was down to us changing centre-back partners with Matip getting injured. However, we've been able to build on this partnership, which actually last season started off so promisingly before Joe Gomez's injury, which was this partnership between Gomez and Van Dijk. And I think we've got something like 7 consecutive clean sheets when those two have played as a centre-back partnership. And for me, that just shows like how far both of those players have come, like particularly Gomez. Obviously, we always knew Van Dijk was great, but that relationship has grown so well, and Gomez in particular has just been getting better and better. And obviously one of the things about that's so good about Van Dijk is that he always makes the centre-backs playing with him play so much better. And I think the way Joe Gomez is playing, I think again he's a shoo-in for the England team. If he continues to play like this, he will definitely be in the Euro 2020 team and in Gareth Southgate's ear. Way better than Michael Keane, John Stones. Joe Gomez is playing at the highest level right now. And I think when Lovren and Matip do come back from the injury, they will find it very difficult to get back into the team. I think Joe Gomez and Van Dijk have a really good relationship. I talked in the last episode a bit about how Joe Gomez's pace helps, particularly with Trent Alexander-Arnold pushing on. So really good to see that partnership blossom. Really looking forward to how many more clean sheets we can keep. But onwards and upwards is Everton in the FA Cup next. I was actually speaking with some people today about how crazy it is that there's so many teams in the FA Cup, yet that our Merseyside rivals are the ones that we play. But obviously they'll be looking to impress. Carlo Ancelotti will be looking to get a statement performance and get his Everton reign off to a positive one. However, on our side, obviously looking to continue the winning streak, keep that mentality in the team. Looking forward to maybe seeing Minamino play. But after that FA Cup game, we're back in the Premier League against Tottenham away. Obviously, the Tottenham game was kind of a close game for us, with them taking the lead at Anfield. But Kane's injured, which could be a huge plus one for us, but a disadvantage for them. But they've had a bit of a rocky time recently as well. So Jose Mourinho obviously always likes to get the best of the bigger teams, so he'll be obviously trying his best to beat us. But that should be a very interesting and close game. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I know I am too. But thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you on another episode.